Take a breath, hand on heart. Feel it, the pulse that kept you alive through every storm you swore would drown you. You have survived 100% of your hardest days, not by luck, by a wisdom that kept placing exactly what you needed in your path. Even when it didn't look like a blessing, maybe you didn't get what you wanted. Maybe you lost what you begged to keep. But what if the universe wasn't punishing you? What if it was preparing you, shaping you for a life larger than your plans? Tonight, we're going to do something brave. We're going to loosen our grip on control and strengthen our grip on trust. We'll learn how to listen for signs, how to act with courage, how to wait without wasting our spirit. We'll turn delays into delivery, fear into fuel, and silence into guidance. The universe doesn't give you everything you ask for. It gives you everything you need to become who you're called to be. If you're ready to receive, not someday, but now, then, let's begin. Mantra. I am exactly where I need to be to receive what is meant for me. There is a kind of power that doesn't come from muscles, money, or control. It comes from trust. Most of us grow up believing that if we don't grip life with both fists, if we don't manage every detail, then everything will fall apart. We convince ourselves that unless we force it, unless we make it happen, nothing will work in our favor. But the truth is, control is an illusion. You can control your effort, but you cannot control the outcome. You can control your intention, but not the timing. You can control your choices, but not the way every consequence unfolds. That's where trust comes in. And trust is not weakness, it is one of the strongest positions you can take in this life. Trust is not about sitting back and doing nothing. Trust is about aligning yourself with the deeper rhythm of life. It's about standing with an open heart and saying, I am willing to believe that life is working with me, not against me. Think about this for a moment. When you were a child, did you have to remind your heart to beat? Did you have to force your lungs to breathe in the night while you slept? Did you have to plan the sunrise or negotiate with the seasons? No. The greatest miracles of your existence have been happening all along without your control. The universe has already been proving to you every single day that it is trustworthy. The same intelligence that grew you from a child into an adult. The same energy that rises the tides and paints the stars is the same energy guiding your journey. But here's the struggle. Many of us live with a closed fist. Imagine holding your hand tightly closed. That's control. That's fear. That's saying, I will not let go, because if I do, I'll lose everything. But when your fist is closed, nothing new can enter it. You can't receive with a clenched hand. Now open your hand. Feel the difference. That's trust. That's surrender. That's saying, I will keep doing my part, but I'm willing to let life place in my palm what I cannot grab on my own. You see, trust is not about abandoning responsibility. It's not about ignoring your effort. It's about working from a place of faith rather than fear. Because when you operate from fear, you burn out, you overthink, you force doors that aren't yours to open. But when you operate from trust, you realize something freeing. What is meant for you will never miss you, and what misses you is never meant for you. Let me ask you a question. How many times in your life did you think you were losing something important only to realize later that it was making room for something better. How many times did you beg for something, a job, a relationship, an opportunity that didn't work out? But later you saw why it wasn't meant to. At the time, you thought the universe was silent, or maybe even cruel. But now, looking back, you see that every no carried a greater yes, every delay carried protection, every loss carried redirection. That is the promise of trust. Trust doesn't guarantee comfort. Trust doesn't guarantee that life will give you everything you want when you want it. But trust guarantees that life will give you what you need exactly when you need it, to become the person you are meant to be. And when you stand in that place, when you live in that awareness, you begin to breathe differently. You stop fighting what is. You stop comparing your journey to someone else's. You stop panicking over closed doors. Because you know the closed door is not rejection, it's protection. Here's what I want you to understand. Trust does not make you passive. It makes you powerful. Because when you trust, you act with courage instead of desperation. You take steps forward not because you have every guarantee, but because you believe you are guided. Trust frees you from needing certainty before moving. Trust allows you to say, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know something greater than me is arranging what I cannot see. And in that knowing, life opens up, your energy shifts, people feel it, opportunities start aligning, doors begin to crack open. Because the universe does not respond to panic, it responds to trust. It responds to the person who says, I will do my part, and I will leave space for the unseen to do its part. So I want you to pause and reflect. Where in your life are you gripping too tightly? Where are you trying to control an outcome so fiercely that you've forgotten how to breathe? And what would it feel like to release? Just a little and let life meet you halfway. Because here's the unshakable truth. The universe has never stopped providing for you. The only question is, are you willing to trust it enough to receive? Life is like the ocean. You cannot stop the tide. You cannot hold back the waves. You cannot order the sea to remain still. But you can learn to swim with the current. You can learn to surf the waves. You can learn to float when the water feels overwhelming. This is the difference between control and cooperation. Control says, I must bend the ocean to my will. Cooperation says, I will move with the ocean, because it already knows where it's going. The reason so many of us feel exhausted, anxious, and burned out is because we are trying to control the uncontrollable. We wrestle with circumstances we cannot change. We demand certainty in places where only faith can exist. We cling to outcomes, relationships, and plans as though our lives depend on them, only to find ourselves drained when they slip through our fingers. That's because control is rooted in fear. It's the voice that says, if I don't force it, I will lose it. But cooperation is different. Cooperation is born from trust. It's the ability to recognize that life is not your enemy, it's your partner. It's the decision to stop fighting every wave and instead learn how to ride them. Think about this. When a surfer enters the ocean, they don't demand calm waters. They don't fight against the rhythm of the sea. They study the waves. They time their movements. They move with the flow of the ocean. They don't control the wave. but they cooperate with it, and because of that cooperation, they experience the thrill of the ride. That is what life is asking of you. Not that you control every detail, but that you learn to align with the larger rhythm. Because the truth is, there are only two things you ever truly control: your choices and your attitude. Everything else, the timing, the results, the way the world responds, lies beyond your grip. So you can either exhaust yourself trying to dominate the ocean, or you can learn to cooperate with it and discover the freedom that comes with flow. Let's be honest, control feels safe. Control gives us the illusion of security. You plan everything down to the last detail. You rehearse every possibility. You cling to the outcomes you've imagined. And sometimes it works. Sometimes your plan matches life's plan and things unfold exactly the way you pictured. But how many times has life taken a turn you didn't expect? How many times has something unexpected entered your world and completely shifted your direction? That's the thing about control. It only works until reality changes. And reality always changes. Cooperation, on the other hand, feels risky at first because it requires trust. It asks you to stop forcing outcomes and instead tune yourself to the opportunities around you. It requires you to be flexible, to pivot, to adapt. But in that flexibility, there is power. A tree that refuses to bend in the wind eventually breaks. But the tree that sways survives every storm. Cooperation is about bending without breaking. Think about a time in your life when you were fighting against reality. Maybe it was a relationship you tried desperately to hold onto, even though it was draining you. Maybe it was a job you stayed in far too long, clinging to the paycheck while your spirit was being suffocated. Maybe it was a dream you had of how life should look, and you were crushed when reality didn't match your vision. That resistance fighting what is creates suffering. But the moment you accepted reality, the moment you shifted from control to cooperation, something opened. You found new strength, new direction, maybe even new freedom. That's the gift of cooperation. Here's the secret. Life is always moving. Doors will close. People will leave. Plans will shift. Seasons will change. The current will carry you whether you want it to or not. You can fight it, screaming in resistance, or you can breathe, relax your shoulders, and begin to move with it. Cooperation does not mean giving up, it means choosing to move in alignment with the forces already carrying you forward. And here's what's beautiful. When you stop forcing and start cooperating, you begin to notice things you couldn't see before. You notice opportunities disguised as detours. You notice lessons hidden in delays. You notice how one closed door often leads you directly toward another that fits you better. Cooperation allows you to hear the quiet voice of guidance, while control drowns it out with noise. So I want you to reflect for a moment. Where in your life are you resisting the flow? Where are you exhausting yourself by fighting reality instead of learning from it? And what would it feel like just for today to cooperate instead? To stop trying to push the river and instead learn to flow with it? Because the truth is, life is not asking you to dominate it. Life is asking you to dance with it. And when you choose cooperation over control, You don't lose your power, you discover a greater power that was always waiting for you. Every single person listening to me right now knows what it feels like to hurt. Maybe for you, the pain came from losing someone you loved. Maybe it came from rejection, from hearing no when you were desperate for a yes. Maybe it came from betrayal when someone you trusted shattered your heart. Or maybe it's the quiet kind of pain, the invisible battle. The nights where you stare at the ceiling wondering if your life is ever going to change. Pain is universal. No one escapes it. And yet, most of us spend our lives running from it, denying it, or numbing it. We treat pain like an enemy, something to avoid at all costs. But what if pain isn't here to destroy you? What if pain is here to shape you? See, pain always carries an assignment. It's not random. It's not meaningless. Pain is a messenger, and its job is to deliver wisdom you could not receive any other way. There are lessons that only heartbreak can teach. There is strength that only struggle can build. There is clarity that only loss can bring. Pain is not here to bury you, it's here to build you. Think about it. The strongest muscles in your body didn't grow from comfort. They grew because of resistance. They grew because you pushed against weight, because you faced the tension, because you leaned into the discomfort. And in the same way, your spirit does not grow when life is easy. Your spirit grows in the moments you thought you couldn't survive, but somehow you did. I want you to think about the darkest chapter of your life. The season you thought would break you. The season where you cried more than you smiled. Where you questioned if you would ever recover. Now look at yourself. You are still here. And not just here, you are wiser. You are stronger. You are softer in some ways, harder in others. That season didn't destroy you. It developed you. That was the assignment of pain. Pain asks questions of us that comfort never does. Pain asks, who are you when everything is stripped away? Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when life doesn't give you what you want? Pain reveals the depth of your character. Pain shows you what really matters. Pain forces you to let go of illusions and face what is real. But here's the problem. When we fight pain, when we resist it, when we tell ourselves, this shouldn't be happening to me, we miss its assignment. We waste the very struggle that was designed to transform us. We get so focused on escaping the pain that we fail to extract the wisdom it came to deliver. I want you to shift your perspective right now. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of saying, I can't take this, say, this is shaping me. That single shift turns pain from punishment into preparation. Let me tell you something powerful. Some of the world's greatest leaders, creators, and healers were forged in pain. Scarcity is one of the most powerful lies we are taught. It whispers in our ears from the time we are young. You're not enough. You don't have enough. You'll never be enough. And the world feeds that lie. Look around: advertisements, social media, even conversations with people around us constantly reinforce the message that we're lacking something. Not smart enough, not successful enough, not rich enough, not attractive enough, always chasing, never arriving. And when you live in that mindset, when scarcity becomes the lens you see through, You wake up every day with a hunger that can't be satisfied. You measure yourself against other people's highlight reels. You believe joy belongs to others, but not to you. And no matter what you accomplish, no matter how much you earn, no matter how much recognition you receive, it never feels like enough. That's because scarcity isn't about your circumstances, it's about your perspective. Think about this. You could have all the money in the world, but if your heart is locked in scarcity, you'll still feel poor. You could be surrounded by people who love you, but if scarcity is the voice you listen to, you'll still feel alone. Scarcity screams. It's loud. It's anxious. It's always pulling you toward what you don't have. And when you live there too long, you stop seeing the abundance that's already around you. But sufficiency is different. Sufficiency doesn't mean you've got everything you ever wanted. It doesn't mean life is perfect. It doesn't mean you never have goals, dreams, or ambitions. Sufficiency simply means, I have enough in this moment to take the next step. I am enough in this moment to move forward. I don't need to wait until every gap is filled. Every problem is solved. Every dream is complete. I already have enough to begin. Think about the air you breathe. You don't panic with every inhale, worried there won't be enough for the next one. You trust that more air will come. That's sufficiency. Think about water. Every sip quenches your thirst for that moment. You don't demand the entire ocean before you drink. That's sufficiency. The truth is, most of us already have more than enough to start. But scarcity tricks us into believing we must wait until we've collected more. More money, more clarity, more approval, more guarantees. And so we stay stuck, not because we lack, but because we fail to see what we already have. Some of you right now are sitting on gifts you haven't used because you've convinced yourself you need more before you begin. You tell yourself, I'll start once I have more resources, more connections, more knowledge. But the universe has already placed in your hands the seed of what you need. And here's the truth about seeds. They never look like what they'll become. A seed is small. It looks ordinary. It doesn't look like a tree. But within it lies everything necessary to grow into something mighty. Your life is the same. What you have right now may feel small. Your resources may feel limited. Your progress may feel insignificant. But sufficiency says, asterisk, this is enough to plant. This is enough to begin. This is enough to trust that more will come as I grow. There are two forces that shape every destiny: the power of your intention and the wisdom of surrender. Alone, each has limits. Together, they form a formula that can move mountains. Intention is the fire within you, the decision, the clarity, the direction you choose. Without intention, life drifts. Without intention, you end up following everyone else's script instead of writing your own. Intention is you standing tall and declaring, this is who I am. This is what I seek. This is the direction I will walk. But here's where many of us stumble. We believe intention alone is enough. We set goals, we make plans, we outline steps, and then, when life doesn't move exactly the way we thought it would, we panic, we fight, we force, we say to ourselves, if I just work harder, if I just push more, it will happen on my timeline. in my way. That is where exhaustion sets in. Because intention without surrender is like rowing a boat against the current. You may move a little, but it will cost you everything. Now let's talk about surrender. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is not apathy. Surrender is the courage to release control over how and when your intention will unfold. Surrender says, "This is my vision, but I trust the timing. This is my desire, but I trust the delivery. This is what I seek, but I am open to it arriving in a form greater than I imagined." When you combine intention with surrender, you step into flow. Think of it as an equation. Asterisk, asterisk, intention, the what life is always speaking. The universe is always whispering. The problem isn't that guidance is absent, the problem is that we've forgotten how to listen. We live so fast, so distracted, so consumed with noise that we miss the signs that are trying to guide us. Yet, if you pause, if you open your eyes and heart, you'll notice the path is marked. The universe leaves clues. We call them synchronicities, those moments that feel too perfect, too aligned, too unlikely to be just coincidence. A song plays on the radio that speaks the exact words you needed. You keep seeing the same number everywhere on the clock, on receipts, on license plates, and it makes your heart pause. A stranger says something in passing that answers a question you've been wrestling with silently for weeks. That's not random. That's not luck. That's the language of the universe. The truth is, guidance rarely shouts. It whispers. And if you don't slow down enough to pay attention, you'll miss it. That's why the first step in trusting the universe does not mean sitting still and waiting for life to hand you everything you want. Trust is not passive. It is active. It is movement. It is faith with feet. Too many people misunderstand this. They say, if I trust the universe, then everything will come to me eventually. I'll just wait, and it will show up. But trust without action is only hope. Trust comes alive when you put motion behind your belief. You show the universe you are serious not only by what you think, not only by what you say, but by what you do. Imagine planting a seed in the ground. You trust that the soil, the sun, and the rain will do their part, but you still have to water it. You still have to tend to it. You still have to create the conditions for growth. That's aligned action. It's not about forcing the seed to grow faster. It's about partnering with the process through intentional movement. So let me ask you, how many dreams have you been carrying around in your heart, but have never acted on? How many times have you told yourself, one day I'll start, while waiting for the perfect moment? Here's the truth: the perfect moment will never come. Life is not waiting for you to feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. Aligned action doesn't mean you know every step. It doesn't mean you see the entire path. It means you take the next step with faith, trusting that more will be revealed as you move forward. Think about driving at night. Your headlights don't light up the entire highway. They only illuminate the next 100 feet. But as you drive forward, the next stretch becomes visible. That is how life works. You don't need the whole plan, you need the courage to move into the light you've been given. But here's the key. It's not just about action. It's about aligned action. There's a difference between busy movement and purposeful steps. Many of us are busy all day long running, hustling, forcing, but we're not Alan Doan of the hardest things to accept in life is timing. We live in a world of instant gratification, fast food, fast internet, instant answers at the touch of a screen. We're conditioned to believe that if something doesn't happen quickly, it isn't happening at all. And so, when our dreams take longer than expected, when doors don't open on our timeline, when the breakthrough doesn't come the moment we want it, we start to panic. We start to doubt. We start to believe the silence means the universe has forgotten us. But here's the truth. Delay is not denial. The waiting season is not wasted time. Sometimes the delay is the delivery. Because what you are asking for requires a version of you that has not yet fully formed. Think about a seed planted in the soil. For weeks, maybe months, nothing seems to be happening. You water it, you wait, and the ground looks empty. But beneath the surface, roots are spreading, foundations are strengthening, and life is taking shape in the dark. If you judged the seed too soon, you would think nothing is working. But given time, the breakthrough always comes. The delay is not the absence of growth, it is the preparation for growth. Your life works the same way. The things you've prayed for, hoped for, worked for, they may not arrive instantly. Not because you're unworthy, not because they're impossible, but because timing matters. Receiving something too soon can destroy it. A dream delivered before you're ready can become a burden instead of a blessing. A relationship that arrives before you've healed can become toxic instead of beautiful. An opportunity that shows up before you've built the discipline to handle it can slip through your fingers. The delay protects you. The delay equips you. The delay ensures that when it comes, you're not just ready to receive it, you're ready to keep it. Some of the greatest heartbreaks in life are actually premature blessings. We think we want it now. We cry for it now. But imagine handing a 3-year-old the keys to a car. They might be thrilled, but it would be dangerous. The car isn't bad. The child isn't bad. The timing is bad. The same is true for you. The universe withholds certain things not out of cruelty, but out of care, not out of punishment, but out of preparation. And yet, in the waiting, it's easy to lose hope. It's easy to compare yourself to others and wonder why their path seems to be moving faster. You see someone else getting the promotion, getting married, starting the business, living the life you've been praying for, and you wonder, why not me? Why not now? But understand this comparison is dangerous because it ignores timing. Just as two flowers can bloom side by side at different speeds, just as two trees bear fruit in different seasons, so too do lives unfold on unique timelines. Their delay is not your delay. Their timing is not your timing. And here's something powerful. The longer the delay, the stronger the foundation. Think about skyscrapers. Before the first floor ever rises above the ground, months, sometimes years are spent digging deep, laying foundations, creating stability. If you judged the construction too soon, it would look like nothing was happening. But the deeper the foundation, the higher the building can rise. In the same way, the depth of your delay is often the measure of how high your future will go. So, instead of asking, Why is it taking so long? Ask, what is this season teaching me? What strength is being built in me right now? What roots are growing beneath the surface? Because every delay carries an assignment. It is preparing you for what you asked for or for something even greater that you haven't imagined yet. The seed never doubts the season. The seed doesn't panic in the soil, screaming, "Why haven't I broken through yet?" It simply trusts that in the right time, in the right season, it will emerge. And when it does, it will be stronger because of the delay. Now pause for a moment and reflect. What if the thing you've been frustrated about, the unanswered prayer, the dream still in waiting, the door that hasn't opened isn't late at all? What if it's right on time? What if the delay is the delivery, shaping both the gift and the receiver, so when it arrives, it fits perfectly into your life?